Coming up on today's edition of Mornings on the Hill, we've got details on a $100 billion micro plant soon to be built in Syracuse.
And the Iranian Student Association is taking action on campus in support of Iranians protesting right now.
Plus, we've got a breakdown on this past weekend's Move Over Festival.
All that, plus your weather and orange sports coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill.
Good morning, I'm Michael Villegas. Thanks for joining us on Mornings on the Hill.
I'm Jeremy Lynch. Let's get to our top story for the day.
A historic investment is coming to Central New York. It's expected to bring thousands of jobs to Central New York.
Elena Losito joins us live outside Tan Auditorium where the announcement was made yesterday.
Thanks, guys. I'm currently outside the NVRC where yesterday Governor Kathy Hochul and Senator Chuck Schumer, alongside other elected officials, made the historic announcement that Micron Technology is coming to Central New York.
This is something I've worked on for 3 years. It's been a dream of mine. When I first wrote the CHIPS bill, I had upstate New York in mind, and this is going to benefit Central New York for generations. This is like, as I mentioned, this is like the Erie Canal. It's transformative. That's the word of the day.
This $100 billion investment will create around 50,000 jobs. This chip factory will be built in the town of Clay and will be a huge boost for the local economy. Micron chose Central New York due to its education institutions, military population, and a high number of veterans, which Micron likes to hire. And this could be the biggest chip fab in the country, and it's being built right here in Central New York.
We are gathered here as a result of an exclusive, almost never happening, extraordinary, unprecedented collaboration between the private sector, businesses, labor, local elected leaders, our federal leaders, and ultimately the state, to be able to close on a deal which will be known as the investment of the century.
The site is located along Route 31 near Cognoy Road in Clay. Company officials say the first step in site construction is site preparation and getting nearby roads ready. Plant construction will begin in 2024. I'm outside the NVRC. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Elena Losito.
Thank you, Elena. Now on campus, Liz Cheney made an appearance on Monday. Cheney was here to talk to students, faculty, and staff about everything from the January 6 hearings to gay marriage and the state of the GOP.
The conversation with the representative was hosted by the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs. Cheney is also a member of the House Armed Services Committee and is the vice chair of the January 6 Hearings Committee. She talked about her experience.
As we think about what does it mean to be citizens in this republic, what are the duties, what are the obligations, and what are the blessings? I think that it's important for all of us, not just those of us who are elected, but for all of us to understand the sacred nature of a peaceful transition of power and what that means to the
Representative Cheney brought to campus by Maxwell Professor Sean O'Keefe, the one-time NASA administrator.
The fight for freedom continues for Iran, especially for Iranian women.
Mornings on the Hill reporter Sammy St. Jean explains how the fight for basic human rights continues here in Syracuse.
The protests in Iran began as a result of a 22-year-old woman, Mahsa Amini, who was detained and murdered by the country's morality police. The response from the regime has not been peaceful, and for people in Iran and those outside the country, like Sarah Akbarnejad, the time to act is now.
Enough is enough. They want to change the regime, Islamic regime in Iran, and receive to a basic human rights for every person.
People in Iran are cut off from the internet, making it a challenge for them to spread their message of what is truly happening. For those outside the country, including Sarah and Mehdi Nejatbash, it means they cannot contact their family.
All my family members are there. Many of my friends are still there, and it's my country. You have some feelings for that, and that's what you can do. I cannot talk for other countries. I can talk for my country.
The Islamic regime has targeted certain groups and people as a response to the protests. One of those is students in their protests occurring at universities.
Can you imagine that police in the United States go to SUNY or Syracuse University campus and arrested some students here for just their protest?
The Iranian Student Association has already organized action in Syracuse, like a vigil for Mahsa and participation in an international day of protest. The efforts in Iran and here in Syracuse are far from complete. No matter where you are, share the news with friends and use or follow the hashtag Mahsamani on all social media platforms. In Syracuse, the effort continues next Tuesday with a Zoom led by the Maxwell School. It is scheduled for next Tuesday, October 11th. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Sammy St. Jean.
Thank you, Sammy. Cisco and Teamsters are sitting down today for negotiations after 200 Teamster union employees walked out of Cisco Distribution Center last week. The walked out protests over unfair labor practices have been on strike ever since.
Cisco has offered some compensation, but the Teamsters union is not satisfied with what they've been offered. They'll hopefully come to an agreement today. Cisco serves more than half of Central New York's restaurants and hospitals.
And now we go over to weather with Isabel Flores reporting live from the weather deck. Isabel.
Hey, thanks guys. As you can see, we're looking at beautiful sunny skies right now. There's a 0% chance of precipitation today, so you won't be needing one of these. Right now we're looking at 80% humidity, but we're still at a chilly temperature, and as a Florida girl, it's a little too cold at 58 degrees for this first week of October. But on the good news is that if you do have allergies, there's no tree pollen or grass pollen out in the air today, so you can breathe a little easier. I'll update you guys soon back in the newsroom. Guys, anchors, back to you.
Thank you, Isabel. Syracuse Stage has announced the cancellation of the play How to Dance in Ohio. The play was canceled after several cast members tested positive for COVID.
Syracuse Stage will contact ticket holders about any cancellations. For any questions, contact the box office at 315-443-3275.
The Syracuse Veterans Creative Arts Exhibition reception is taking place today. The Creative Arts Competition showcases works of art made by local veterans. The Department of Veterans Affairs uses creative arts as a form of rehabilitative treatment to help veterans recover from and cope with physical and emotional disabilities. The reception is set to start at noon.
October 19th is the National Move Over Awareness Day, and the city of Syracuse celebrated on Sunday with festival honoring lives serving through the line of duty. Mornings on the Hill reporter Jayla Pettis joins us in studio to share more about the festival. Jayla?
Every time that law enforcement or emergency workers respond to a call, their life is at risk while serving the community. When you're traveling on the road and see flashing lights, it's important to move over for the safety of workers and yourself. The inaugural Slow Down Move Over Festival took place October 2nd in Clinton Square. Food trucks, vendors, police officers, firefighters, tow trucks, and AMR vehicles filled the area, bringing awareness to the Move Over Law. The New York State Move Over Law went into effect July 1st, 2012, and protects law enforcement officers, emergency workers, tow and service vehicle operators stopped along roadways while performing their duties. Event promoter Tim Spoon shared the reasoning behind creating this event.
We don't want to forget the people that we have lost, and we don't want to forget the people that are still out there.
Many first responders put their lives on the line to make sure that people are safe. Syracuse firefighter Timothy Nelson explained the importance of the law for first-time drivers.
Being a first-time driver and knowing the rules, the laws of the land, that's definitely something that you should know because of the experience.
If you are a first-time or experienced driver and you see a first responder flashing their lights, remember to slow down and move over because first responders are important too. The festival will happen annually each year in October to raise awareness. To donate, become a sponsor, or find out more information, head over to their website at cnymoveover.com. From Mornings on the Hill, I'm Jayla Pettis.
Thank you, Jayla. Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, the popular Marshall Street Bar is making a comeback.
Zachary Richter takes us to Chuck's. We'll be back in 2 minutes. It's
time to check for your today's weather.
Isabel Flores is in studio with a full look at your weather forecast.
Thanks, guys. So as you can see, right now we're at around 56, 58 degrees. It has gotten a little warmer since this morning, but humidity has also gone down a little bit. It's at 65%, and the dew point right now is 46, but the wind has also gone down from 3 miles to 0 miles an hour. So that might, ease a little bit of the chilliness that we're feeling this morning. And the visibility is at 10 miles, so that's really good so far. And the barometer is saying that's 30 inches right now, about 30 inches. So this is the forecast for tomorrow. So we're going to be at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. In the afternoon, it's going to go down to 66. And throughout the day, it's also going to get colder all the way until at night. It's going to be at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you do go out, make sure that you're bundled up. Now, this is the 5-day forecast for the rest of the week. Today, there's a 0% chance of precipitation, which is amazing. As you see, we're going to have beautiful sunny skies all day, beautiful blue skies. But as we're going on Thursday, we're going to get to 60% precipitation all the way until the end of the week. And so Sunday is going to be at 40%. So make sure that you bring an umbrella. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Isabel. For many years, Hungry Trucks was a popular spot on campus to grab a cold drink and cheese fries. The Marshall Street apartment complex went up, Hungry Trucks moved out.
But now a rebirth of sorts as Chuck's is coming back. Mornings on the Hill reporter Zachary Richter spoke with the owner about his plans to reopen.
We call it Hungry Chuck's. It's a place, to come and consume, to see and be seen.
It's as simple as that. Far from corporate, but known as the heart of the Hill, Hungry Chuck's has been a part of the Syracuse community for over half of a generation. And after being forced to close in 2017, Chuck's has now returned to the Hill. I sat down with the owner of the bar, Stephen Theobald.
It was April 20th of 2017. I spent 5 days a week, 40, 50, 60 hours a week looking for a new space. There just isn't much space available up here. It's a very small business district that's surrounded by the campus.
Chuck's now lives in the former home of Panda West. And after being gone for 5 years, how will they compete with nearby competition such as Orange Crate Harry's and Fagan's?
I don't really feel like we have to compete with them. We do something completely different than them. We don't really have any rules in here. Basically, as long as you're not violent, you can do anything you want in here.
And Chuck's is special not just because it's only been here for 50 years, but also everything written on the walls and on the chairs makes this place unique.
It's signing the wall, it's writing, different sayings and stuff on the walls.
SU alum Matthew Hagler has nothing but good memories from Chuck's.
Hearing that Hungry Chuck's is back is amazing. I remember all those Saturdays that me and the guys spent there watching the football games or after a football game. And it was truly a Syracuse staple.
And for Chuck's, it's now time to make new memories. Zach Richter for Citrus TV News.
I don't know about you, Jeremy. That place looks pretty cool. Have you ever been?
I've never been, but honestly, it looks really cool. Like the writing on the walls, that's really cool.
It definitely does. I'm going to have to check it out and get my name on there, some secret spot just for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't reveal it. You better not.
I would never.
National Coffee with the Cop Day is taking place in Syracuse again right now. It began a few minutes ago at 10 in the morning. Syracuse police officers are meeting at Salt City Coffee to take questions and listen to concerns among the Syracuse community. The event is set to take place at 509 West Onondaga Street, and officers will be there until 1 in the afternoon today. Coming up on Mornings on the Hill, which 5 Syracuse teams are in the rankings? And how will one former SU soccer player speaking out against harassment in the NWSL? We'll be right back.
Good morning and welcome to the Orange Sports Update. I'm Maddie Muschin. 5 fall sports teams at Syracuse are ranked this week. This is the most teams ranked at one time in SU history. The football team is now ranked after their weekend win over Wagner. The team is now 5-0 and is ranked number 22 in the AP polls. After their bye week this week, the Orange will return to the Dome on October 15th against NC State. Running over to cross country, the women's team is dropping in the polls to number 15. In addition, the men's team broke into the top 10 and are currently ranked at number 9. The teams will compete again on October 14th in the Nutty Comb, Wisconsin Invitational. Field hockey jumped back into number 11 after 2 top 20 wins last week. The team takes on Stanford today in a Wednesday night matchup tonight at 6 p.m. Men's soccer is sitting at the top of our list, currently ranked number 7 in the nation. The team lost last night to Cornell 2-1, bringing their final record to 8-2-1. A report has been released, and a Syracuse women's soccer alumna is one of the players who was abused. Our Mornings on the Hill reporter Cindy Staples has more on the investigation.
Erin Simon was a member of the women's soccer team here at Syracuse from 2012 to 2015. The New Jersey native and star went on to play professionally in both Europe and here in the States. But her experience with the National Women's Soccer League coach is undocumented in the recent U.S. Soccer report. Sally Q. Yates conducted the independent investigation on behalf of the U.S. Soccer Federation. Over 170 pages document the abusive behavior and sexual misconduct within the Professional Women's Soccer League. The report focuses on 3 former NWSL coaches, and Simon's Racing Louisville Football Club head coach Christy Hawley was one of them. I want to remind you that the following allegations are disturbing and may trigger some audiences. Hawley allegedly sent and asked for inappropriate photos to and from Simon. The reporter says he also groped her during a film session and proposed that she partake in inappropriate actions with him and another former player. He then forced her to touch him inappropriately. According to WKLY, Simon agreed to have her name published in the report because too many athletes don't come forward out of fear. Simon now plays in Europe with Leicester City. The report suggests that the verbal and emotional abuse and sexual misconduct are systemic, spanning multiple teams, coaches, and victims across the league. Abusive coaches were able to move to new clubs after being fired from other teams, while those in positions of authority stayed silent on the record. It was not for lack of players complaining. It was that teams, the league, and the federation failed to respond and prevent the abuse and misconduct from happening in the first place. Transparency and accountability are among some of the report's requests. Soccer will implement the report's recommendations and publish an action plan on or before January 31st of next year. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Sydney Staples. Maddie, back to you.
Thanks, Cindy, for that important update. In baseball, the American League season home run record was broken last night. Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run of the season on the road last night in Texas. With 62 home runs this season, Judge surpassed Roger Maris, who set the record in 1961. That's all for the Orange Sports Update. I'm Maddie Muschen.
Oh, that ball should be worth a lot of money. Thank you, Maddie. Still here to come on Mornings on the Hill, a popular musical is making its return to Landmark Theater. Stay with us for that story and more just ahead.
Entertainment reporter Micah Prine-Goldstein joins us live in studio. Micah?
The musical Annie has returned to the stage after a couple-year break for the last pandemic. Last night, the show opened in Syracuse at the Landmark Theater. The iconic show is based on the 1930s comic strip Little Orphan Annie. Over the 40 years of productions, famous songs The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow and It's the Hard Knock Life have become mainstays to any theater fan's knowledge. The current cast has been working together for 6 years, and this will be their first time performing this hit in Syracuse. Annie has showtime scheduled for every day until Sunday. DC Comics is not dead yet. With the studio in rebuild, their extended universe is returning to films about anti-heroes. The legendary character Black Adam will be hitting big screen with an even bigger actor to play the part. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will be playing the film's centerpiece as a rage-filled monster after being asleep for 5,000 years. Adam will learn his immense power and embrace the importance of being a force for good. October means spooky, and to the film's business, horror is the standard. 44 years and 12 films later, the original slasher franchise Halloween is coming to a close. Jamie Lee Curtis will be reprising her role from the 1978 classic as she squares off with Michael Myers one last time. The knife-wielding maniac embodies evil itself and has become the measuring stick for all horror killers. The current trilogy exploded at the box office 4 years ago, and director David Gordon Green says he was, quote, excited to return to the roots for this series. For Mornings on the Hill Entertainment, I'm Micah Prine Goldstein.
What would be your favorite horror movie after that Halloween little special there?
I mean, the judgment is open for this coming one. After seeing a lot of the Conjuring films, though, I've really come accustomed and I'm a big fan of that universe. My favorite overall, though, I would still say is the 1978 classic, the very first time that we saw Michael Myers and Laurie Strode face off.
Oh, absolutely.
Gotcha. Today's a special day. It's World Teacher Day.
It is observed on October 5th and honors teachers who play an important role in the education and development of our future leaders.
Teachers work so hard to prepare students for the future. It's more important than ever to recognize the difficult job they do.
To observe World Teachers Day, the best thing you could do is thank a teacher who made or is making a positive impact on your life.
The Moth crew would like to give a big shout out to our Professor Copeland, and to all the teachers at Newhouse.
Thank you for all that you do. So, who would you say is one of your favorite professors that you've had so far?
It's so hard to choose. Professor Copeland is definitely one of them, and that's not me sucking up. But I would definitely have to say undergrad Professor Riggs, a sales professor of mine. He just really did well in something that I wasn't interested in. What about you?
Probably Professor Catherine Loper, who was my broadcast news writing professor that I had in undergrad, because she taught me a lot about the broadcasting industry and stuff like that, and made me really want to consider journalism as a career path for me, especially.
That's awesome.
Yeah, also, I would also want to say Professor Mike Cleland, because he got me very involved as well.
Very nice, very nice. All right, well, that's going to do us. Thank you for joining us this Wednesday here on Mornings on the Hill. I'm Michael Villegas. Follow us on social media.
And I'm Jeremy Lynch. Thanks for watching Orange Nation. We'll see you next Wednesday at 10 a.m. right here on OTN.